Ramana Maharshi's words are deep and direct. My comments are intended to bring his deep words into your experience. Use YouTube's closed captions to read along. This week is talk number 122. Let me get it up on the screen. A crowd had gathered here during Christmas, and a devotee asked how to attain unity consciousness. Maharshi said, being unity consciousness, how to attain it. Your question is its own answer. The devotee then asked, what is Atman, self, Anatman, non-self, and Para-Atman, the supreme self? And Maharshi said, Atman is Jiva Atman, the individual self, and the rest are plain. The self is ever present. Each one wants to know the self. What kind of help does one require to know oneself? People want to see the self as something new, but it's eternal and remains the same all along. They desire to see it as a blazing light, etc. How can it be so? It is not light. It is not darkness. It is only as it is. It cannot be defined. The best definition is I am that I am. The Shrutis speak of the self as being the size of one's thumb, the tip of the hair, an electric spark, vast, subtler than the subtlest, etc. They have no foundation in fact. It is only being, but different from the real and the unreal. It is knowledge, but different from knowledge and ignorance. How can it be defined at all? It is simply being. Again, Bhagavad said in the whole Thyamanar literature, he preferred one stanza which says, ego disappearing, another I spontaneously manifests in full glory. Again, he cites Skandar Abhidhuti, not real, not unreal, not darkness, nor light it is. One man said that the Siddha of Kumbakonam claimed to overcome the defects of Sri Sankara's system, which deals only with transcendentalism and not the workaday life. One must be able to exercise superhuman power in ordinary life. That is to say, one must be a Siddha in order to be perfect. Sri Bhagavan pointed out a stanza in Thyamanar which condemns all cities. Further, he said that Thyamanar mentions Mona, silence, in numerous places, but defines it in only one verse. Mona is said to be that state which spontaneously manifests after the annihilation of the ego. That state is beyond light and darkness, but still it is called light, since no other proper word could be found for it. Hello, Elizabeth. Glad you could join us.
Thank you.
Now, my comments. Ramana Maharshi teaches that the ultimate reality, Brahman, is without attributes, formless, and indivisible. In the conversation, someone asked Ramana about attaining unity consciousness. Ramana responds by saying that the question itself contains the answer. Unity consciousness is not something separate or distinct that one needs to attain. It is the inherent nature of our being. That's what unity means. The individual self, the Jivan Atman, is not separate from the Supreme Self, the Para Atman, and realizing this unity is the key. Non-difference is at the heart of Ramana's teaching and of Advaita Vedanta. The questioner then asks about Atman, the self, Anatman, non-self, and Para-Atman, supreme self. Ramana explains that Atman refers to the individual self. He emphasizes that the self is eternal and unchanging, and that everyone seeks to know the self. However, the self cannot be perceived as something new or extraordinary because it is beyond definition, beyond senses and the mind, and it is the experience of everyone at all times, whether they notice it or not. Ramana suggests that the best description of the self is I am that I am, highlighting its indescribable and ever-present nature. He further explains that the description of the self found in scriptures, such as its size or subtle nature, are metaphorical and do not accurately define it. The self is neither real nor unreal, neither light nor darkness. It is simply being, beyond both mental knowledge and ignorance. The conversation then shifts to a claim made by someone about overcoming the limitation of Shankara's system, which primarily focuses on absolute knowledge and neglects practical aspects of daily life. I think this is the same as Nomi's teaching. The claim suggests that one must possess superhuman power and be a siddha and accomplish yoga to attain perfection in everyday life. In response, Ramana refers to a stanza in Thyamanavar's writing that condemns the pursuit of siddhis, supernatural powers, and emphasizes the importance of self-knowledge beyond the ego and mental knowledge. He also mentions that Thyamanavar frequently mentions silence, Mona. Mona spontaneously arises after the dissolution of the ego, transcending both light and darkness, and called light due to the lack of a better term. The light referred to here is the light of consciousness, which illuminates our being and the universe. This light provides the knowing power of consciousness. The conversation reflects the Maharshi's teachings on the nature of the self and the importance of realizing the non-difference of the individual and the supreme self, and the need to go beyond the ego and mind in spiritual practice. His teachings emphasize direct self-inquiry and the realization of one's true nature beyond conceptualization and intellectual understanding. Ramana emphasizes the direct path of self-inquiry, turning your attention inward to investigate the nature of the I or the sense of self. The ego, which gives rise to the illusion of separateness, needs to be seen as an illusion for the realization of one's true nature. Through self-inquiry, you can directly experience the underlying unity of all existence and recognize the eternal and unchanging nature of the self. Silence, Mona, is another theme that Ramana often emphasized. This silence is not merely the absence of external noise, but spontaneously rises when the ego dissolves. In this state of silence, beyond the realm of words and thoughts, there is a profound inner silence, stillness, and clarity. It is pure awareness where the mind becomes calm and tranquil. The idea of being a body and a mind being dissolved, the mind no longer has a job to do, so it's quiet. Ramana's teachings emphasize the direct experience of truth over intellectual knowledge. He encourages his followers to inquire into the nature of the self through self-investigation, asking the fundamental question, who am I? By persistently examining the source of the I thought, you penetrate beyond the limitations of the ego and realize the true self beyond all concepts and definitions. Ramana's teachings revolve around the non-dual nature of reality, the importance of self-inquiry, the transcendence of the ego, and the direct experience of truth. His profound insights into the nature of the self and his unwavering presence continue to have a profound influence on those who speak spiritual awakening and self-realization. So inquire, know yourself, and be always happy and at peace. These videos help bring Ramana Maharshi's teachings into your direct experience. Subscribe now to help you deepen your understanding and practice to know the self. Just click the subscribe button.